Hey, welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I'm so excited today to bring you another interview with Hallmark talent. Today, I am talking with actress Stephanie Moroz. And Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So what we like to do with our guests is we like to give you a chance to introduce yourself and to tell us what inspired you to get into acting.
Okay, well, it's probably a number of factors, but my name is Stephanie Moroz, and I'm currently based in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. My acting journey began, I was about 5 or 6, and I was kind of one of those kids that just had a lot of energy, was always chatting. And one of my teachers in the first grade talked to my mom and said, she's got a lot of energy. You should maybe think about putting her in some drama classes. So my mom did that, and I basically took classes all through my childhood and studied in high school, and then I pursued theater studies in Vancouver, BC, and basically the rest is history.
That's great. So
Yeah,
did you do a lot of plays growing up, like in high school and stuff
I
like that?
did. Yes, I definitely did a lot of plays, a lot of musicals, kind of varied between, shows that I would write with friends and then, kind of more professional ones, did a lot of Shakespeare, and then got into film and TV when I lived out west, and then started
Hmm.
doing the Christmas movies when I relocated back to Winnipeg.
What were some of the early plays that you did that stood out?
Okay, let me think. We did one. I remember I was in a version of Noah and the Ark,
Oh,
and I was I was a storm. I was a storm dancer,
oh,
which meant I came out and created the storm. So that's one of my earliest memories. I also did Jonah and the Whale. I remember doing that one and being in the belly of this giant whale.
was that a
And
church that you did
you know
that?
what? It wasn't a church. It was a school that I went to. It was a religious
Oh,
school, and
okay.
but they did Bible-based plays.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then in theater school we used to write our own. And I'm trying to remember some of my earliest memories, but there's definitely been some good shows.
Uh-huh. Yeah, on your IMDb, it talked about your stage work and stage performing, and
Yeah.
particularly Shakespeare. And so I was curious, is that something you still do, or?
It is. Yeah, I still work in theater in Winnipeg. I did mostly my professional work out in Vancouver for theater, but I did a lot of I did The Importance of Being Earnest. So I've done a lot of kind of classic British plays, and that sort of style of comedy has always appealed to me. So yeah, I still work out here in Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think makes like Shakespeare so timeless as far as even, especially with the old language, still being able to connect with modern audiences?
Right. I think there's something to be said just about kind of the classic storylines and the really, really
Hmm.
strong characters and interesting characters that sort of transcends time. That even if the language is a bit, different than how we speak today, that connection between characters is so universal. And I think I had some really good teachers in high school that made it, sort of approachable. When you start understanding the jokes and the humor and everything behind it and just the poetry, I think it's more accessible than maybe people give it credit for.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a testament that they're still remaking it and doing all these films today, remakes of Shakespeare. So
Hmm.
yeah, it stood the test of time.
Yeah, it's really incredible, those touch pieces that just they seem to be relevant in almost any era.
Yeah.
I've said for a long time that I think all romantic comedies are based on either Pride and Prejudice or
Yeah.
Taming
Much
of the
ado about
Shrew.
nothing.
Well, Much
Yeah.
Ado About Nothing, but I think even more Taming of the Shrew. The whole idea of so many romantic comedies, you see the idea of like the bet or the wager or
Yeah.
that kind of gimmick of kind of thing, which you see in Taming of the Shrew,
Oh,
uh,
definitely.
and and then Pride and Prejudice. Obviously, your opposites attract.
Yeah. Oh,
An
completely.
idea that
That's like the
Sophie,
Bridget Jones Diary
yeah, I mean that
kind of.
one's a literal adaptation,
Yeah.
basically, but
True. There are ones that are a little more subtle.
but yeah, I mean, the thing that so many romantic comedies get wrong about the opposites attract kind of a thing with Pride and Prejudice is that in Pride and Prejudice, the they just don't like each other, Elizabeth and Darcy.
Yeah.
Everybody around them loves them. They are beloved, you know. So you know that they are good people, and that's the problem with a lot of bad romantic comedies, is that you don't even like the people. They're just, it's not just that they don't get along with each other, it's that they're just miserable human beings. And so you don't want
Yeah.
them to be
That's a
happy.
really
You're
good point.
not invested in their relationship. And
Yeah.
and and so I think that's the tricky kind of balance to,
Yeah.
if you're going to do that kind of story, is to kind of keep the characters likable, but they just don't happen to get along. But
Yeah,
of
definitely. Yeah.
course they will get along if they were just stop being so stubborn.
Yeah, exactly. If they would only see their, realize
Yeah,
their true connection. But no, that's
right.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch a lot of movies growing up? Were you a big movie?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I was raised on, I mean, a lot, all the Disney movies for sure as a kid.
Hmm.
Like I grew up with The Little Mermaid and
Oh,
Aladdin, The Lion King. It was kind of a
yeah.
really great era.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Disney's always, got some really strong work, but I particularly remember those movies as being
Yeah.
very formative.
Same with
And
me.
yeah, and even watching, I remember, I don't know what it was like in the States, but in Canada on Sunday night, they used to have like the Disney kind of family movie that would
Right.
always, and sometimes they would be, the classic ones like Mary Poppins or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or something
Yeah.
along those lines. And I remember growing up with those as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Same.
wanting to be an actor. I was pretty young. I was probably about 5 or 6 when I first said, I want to do what they do, because it
Hmm.
just looks so much fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. The Disney Renaissance in the 90s was really really impactful on my life as well. And in fact, Little Mermaid is really the first music and movie that I ever really fell in love with, that I was very attached to. And I actually just got to see it. They had it at the AMC, did a I got to see Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid on the big
Uh,
screen at the AMC. They did a little series where you could watch a
oh,
bunch of the princess movies, and it holds
yeah.
up. It holds up. It's
They definitely hold up
yeah.
100%. The songs in Little Mermaid, the
Oh
storyline, everything. I used to, yeah. I mean, I loved Ariel, but I was also really into Ursula's songs.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of always liked being the villain, which I
I
actually
know.
haven't gotten a chance to play that many villains, but yeah, I was definitely drawn to her character.
Yeah, I know. And Disney has really moved away from like outright villains. The last since Tangled, they haven't had a villain song, first of all, since Tangled, and they
Oh,
haven't had an outright, like, it's always sort of a surprise villain, whether it's Hans and Frozen or Mare,
yeah.
the
They're like,
Mare
yeah,
and
they're misunderstood, but they're not really like.
yeah, like Bellwether and Zootopia is a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with something like Lotso in Toy Story 3, surprise villain.
Right.
And I'm ready for. I'm kind of hopeful that maybe Frozen 2 will get like that dishy villain, but we'll see. I don't know. But
Yeah. Well, we can
yeah,
hope. We can hope. I'm
yeah,
definitely excited for that one.
we
Yes.
got. I mean, I guess as close as we've gotten is maybe the crab, the giant crab in Moana, uh
Oh yeah.
was was uh, kind of a outright villain, but it was just only in one scene.
See,
But
actually, I didn't see Moana. I know the music, but I haven't actually
oh,
watched it,
it's
but I
pretty
should.
good. I like it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I love Ursula and Scar. They're my two
Oh,
favorite of all
Scar. Yeah,
time.
that's a good one. Isn't that Jeremy
Yeah.
Irons plays
Yeah.
Scar? That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better than this recent one, in my opinion.
I haven't even seen it.
No,
I love the
no good. No
original.
good. So anyway, that's really interesting. And yeah, the so your first role for Hallmark was in A Dream of Christmas.
Yes.
And how did you end up getting that first role?
I'd actually just moved back to Winnipeg, and it was my first audition back. And I went into the room, and I was really excited. I wasn't super nervous for whatever reason that day, and it ended up just going really well. And
Mm.
it was kind of one of those auditions that I left feeling like, oh, that felt really fun and felt really good. And then a couple weeks later, I had a kind of a meet and greet with the director. I was relatively new to film and TV, and I had
Mhm.
done mostly theater work. So he just kind of wanted to, see what my previous work was like and get to know me a little bit. And then I was offered the role, and I was kind of just brand new back living in Winnipeg, and that was one of my first experiences back, which was so much fun.
Mhm.
Getting to work with Nikki DeLoach and Andrew Walker, who I think I've now done 4
Yeah, I
Christmas
was
movies.
gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
Is that just
Yeah.
completely random, or are you guys like BFFs or what?
We are good buddies. Andrew is awesome.
Yeah.
It's that we work with Gary Yates, who's the director of a
Okay.
number of movies, and yeah, he's kind of joined us up in a lot of them, which has been really fun. And so I've gotten to play his sister and his kind of work rival, and then one movie we didn't really know each other, and then which one? And then yeah, his sister, and I think I'm forgetting one. Maybe it's been 3,
4.
but
No, you've been in
well,
4.
it has been
Well,
4, right? Okay.
including the new one, I
The
guess.
new one, that's the one I'm
Yeah.
forgetting. So yeah, the Marion Bright coming out this
Yeah.
is it November 2nd or November 3rd?
Uh, Second.
November 2nd,
You never
perfect.
know with Hallmark. You just have
Yes,
to like turn in, there'll be a movie. Oh,
exactly,
the schedule
exactly.
changes so much.
I
Okay.
knew it was the beginning of the month, so yeah, looking forward to it. And
Yeah.
yeah, he comes, and they're filmed. The ones we've done together have been in Winnipeg, so I've showed him a bit of the city, and we've
Mhm.
watched some hockey games, Winnipeg Jets, and
Mm.
he's basically like an honorary Winnipegger now that he comes here so much. So
That's good. Because he's
yeah,
from, I mean, I think he lives in Vancouver now,
he's
but
from
yeah,
Montreal
Montreal, yeah.
originally. Yeah, so he
Yeah,
knows the cold and Canadian winters and all that. So
because we interviewed him, and I was really excited to learn that he knew how to speak French.
oh yeah, oh
It's
for
like,
sure.
wow. It's like the perfect man here. He's
Yeah,
handsome. He knows how to speak French. He's like,
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
yeah, that's funny. Well, yeah, because the Dream of Christmas is an interesting one because it's a little bit more, I don't know, like a little more flight of fancy. Maybe I don't know if that's the
Totally.
correct word then, because a lot of these are just typical. We're gonna plan a party together,
Yeah.
and in this one, a Dream of Christmas, it's got a little bit more of a kind of not fantasy really, but like it's an interesting kind of idea of her
Yeah,
kind of seeing it's sort of it's a wonderful life kind of type idea going on.
definitely. Yeah, I know that was definitely an inspiration for the movie as It's a
Yeah.
Wonderful Life. And yeah, just sort of that, I don't want to call it an alternate universe, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
a little more abstract, a little more
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, kind of an
Mhm.
alternate
Yeah.
reality.
I was
Mm.
actually talking about my character with somebody recently, and we discovered that because Nikki's character wakes up, Penny wakes up eventually, or comes out of whatever state she was in,
Uh-huh.
and does my character really even exist? Because I was only in the dream
Oh,
world.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we had some alternate theories that I'm actually her boss in the real world, but
Oh,
we didn't get to see that version. But
that's pretty meta.
I know, we went pretty deep with it.
There could be, it's like the many worlds theory, in physics. There
Exactly,
could be
exactly.
multiple versions of you living multiple lives.
I think so, because
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that she's the assistant in one, and then in the
Yeah.
other world, she would be the boss.
Yeah.
So.
It could be like being John Malkovich, where you're just like,
Now we're getting really intense. Yeah,
yeah, it would be good. It would be good.
yeah.
That's funny. So you were in Snowed In Christmas was your next one with Andrew.
Yeah.
That is one of our favorites. We
Oh yes, I love it
love
too.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
had so many sweet moments, and like their chemistry was really great, and
yeah,
yeah, definitely
I
had fun.
I love also that they did the little music video. I think that's so fun.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I know. And Joy is such a talented singer. It was so nice that, she got to showcase that in the movie too a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing it, I didn't even know that Andrew could sing. So there you go.
Well, I don't think he even knew he could sing. He was she was saying
Well,
in
it's
our
good. Push
interview.
him out of his comfort zone a little.
Yeah, I think that's what she was like. You could do it. You could do it.
Yeah.
That was the impression I got from our for our during our interview. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's
Yeah.
if you just looked at the bare bones of the story, it feels like, oh, we've seen this story so many times, but it's one of those examples of it's just executed so well with such great
Hmm.
chemistry that it
Yeah.
really works very well.
I agree. I had the same impression.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really liked, I loved working with Andrew and all of them, but in that one, particularly the brother-sister dynamic, I think we really liked exploring, because I'd say that's kind of probably what we're like in real life, is like, feels like he's my big brother.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun to kind of play that little, I don't know, not rivalry, but just sort of teasing kind of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
banter. That was really fun.
Yeah, that is cool. So then A Christmas in Tennessee, you were
Hmm.
also with Andrew on it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
Steve.
and this was Rachel Boston. So and this did really have a lovely cast in
Yeah.
this one.
And Patricia Richardson, Caroline
That's
Ray.
right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
really,
And
really.
were you just in the town, or what was your role in that one?
I was his colleague.
Oh,
Yeah, I was not really his assistant. It was more like I was his junior associate.
oh, that's
And
right.
and I kind of had some ideas, and I ended up sort of a little bit of the villain in that one, actually, because I'm the one
Hmm.
who forges a signature, and I
Oh,
kind of
that's
do
right.
some shady business dealings. Um, so that was a really fun one to play.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very underhanded, especially considering it's Christmas time. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, you gotta be a subtle villain at Christmas time,
Yeah.
right? You gotta play charming, but
Yeah.
that was great.
Uh,
And the music in that one too was really nice. And
yeah,
um, yeah.
true. So then you were in a movie earlier this year for Lifetime called I'm Somebody's Child, the Regina
Hmm.
Louise story, and it said you were one of the nurses.
Yes.
So those nurses were the worst.
Okay.
So I just wondering what that was like
To
to
be
be.
fair, I was one of the nicer nurses.
Okay,
That there were moments of connection between me and Regina Louise, but
okay.
definitely, my colleague, she was kind of a Nurse Ratchet type.
Yeah,
She was
I know. That's why I was thinking when I'm watching. I'm like, Nurse Ratchet is running this
completely, yeah.
hospital.
And
Oh
I
my
think the
gosh.
director was like, okay, let's make your character a little softer, just so we have a little bit of kind of justice in there. But
Uh-huh.
um, yeah, that was such a powerful story, and um, yeah, there was a lot of fun to work on that one.
Yeah, I was just like, how is this woman alive? How is she not like a psychopath?
Oh,
She's
yeah,
gone through
just
all this. Oh my
been
gosh.
through so much. And she was on set. I got to meet her,
Oh
and
really?
yeah, she's just really like kind of an enigmatic, like just charismatic, strong woman. And
Uh-huh.
just hearing her story and what she's been through, and kind of how she's used it to help other people and
Uh,
children in the foster care, and kind of just to bring
yeah.
awareness to the topic, is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what a survivor. Holy cow. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It it's just so crazy that anybody could think that that's a better life for her than somebody willing to foster her. It's just so
I
crazy.
know. It's baffling. Yeah,
Mhm.
it really is.
So yeah, I was gonna say, was that what was that like to be one of the one of the horrible to play like one of the horrible nurses? But it sounds like you
Yeah,
weren't.
I
You
was
were one of the nice.
a little bit nicer, but um, even just to be around like the mean nurses, or to
Yeah.
see like all the girls, yeah, it was a bit of a intense feeling. And
Mhm.
um, I
Yeah.
know
You hope none of them go too method on you. Like, oh
No,
no.
exactly. It's funny because the actress who played the Nurse Judy is just like the sweetest, loveliest. Like we met on that set and we're become really
Uh-huh.
good friends working together. So it's just funny how. But yeah, I remember they got us in our costumes and they were these 1960s or 70s nurse hats, and it was a lot of fun.
So you have Mary Bright coming up for
Hmm.
Hallmark, and this stars Jodie Sweetin and Andrew Walker, and like you said, directed by Gary Yates. Why don't
Hmm.
you tell us a little bit about the film and your role?
Okay. So, Marion Bright follows the story of Kate, who runs her grandmother's company, which is a candy cane company called Marion Bright. And they're going through a little bit of trouble. They're needing to kind of rebrand, or they're not doing as well in the market as they used to. So Andrew Walker plays. Actually, can't remember his character's name.
Uh,
I'll have to.
I think it's Gabe
Yep, that's it.
is the
That's
name.
100% it. So Gabe comes and he's sort of sent in to help, rejig and redesign the business and help. And of course, they definitely have that opposites attract. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
very heads in the beginning, not wanting to work together. And I play Sophie. I'm Kate's assistant and just kind of wants to keep everything running smoothly, and very much believes in the company and what it stands for. And I also have a little bit of a romance in this movie,
Mm.
and yeah, it's Sophie and Pete, and he is lovely. Derek played him, and we just had so much fun together. And it was kind of fun because this is the first one I've gotten to do where I had a little bit of a romantic storyline as well. Yeah, I won't ruin any more of the plot points, but it was so much fun to make. And Jodie is just, I am the hugest Full House fan, so I
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching Full House. My name is also Stephanie, so I naturally she was
Yeah.
my favorite character, and I totally had a fangirl moment. I think about day 3 or day 4 of working with her. I'm like, okay, I just have to say, like, I was obsessed with the show, and still am, and absolutely love your work. And she was just she was so much fun to work with. Told the best stories, and yeah, it's really cool to meet somebody that you grew up watching
Yeah.
on the screen after school every day. So that was a great experience.
Well, yeah, she has had a really good uh I think little track record, I guess, on for Hallmark Channel. Her movie last year called Entertaining Christmas. It it wasn't my favorite, but I thought she was super charming in it.
Yes.
And I think that says a lot for somebody is that, and I really liked Finding Santa. I thought that
Yes.
one
Yeah. Finding Santa's great. Yeah.
yeah, it was. The script was really good in it because the story is kind of ridiculous, but the dialogue was so funny. I thought that
Yeah.
they did such a good job with that, and I don't know. I just think she brings a lot of comedy and
Yes.
physical comedy that you don't always get with Hallmark leading ladies. They don't always have that sort of
Yeah.
comedic
No, I
timing,
know
and
what
I
you're
like
saying.
that.
I remember the first couple days working with her and watching her, and I actually noticed the same thing. I was like, she's
Hmm.
so good at just like getting the laugh and doing something with her face or her eyes. And as an actor, I'm always trying to look at what other people are doing and what's working
Hmm.
for them. And I was definitely noticed she has a tremendous talent for that. I was gonna ask, what kind of gets you? What would you say is your first thing that kind of draws you into, well, any kind of movie, but Hallmark movies in particular? Would you say it's the story, the plot, the dialogue, the acting?
Yeah,
Is it
that's
the
a good
combo?
question. I think that, and it's so hard because this is so ephemeral, it's so out of people's control, but I think that chemistry is the biggest thing. I can accept the dopiest story and maybe not the best dialogue, but if the couple has chemistry and I'm feeling it between the two of them,
Yeah,
that is by far the biggest thing. And you can have such a great script, and if I'm just not feeling the couple,
yeah,
then I'm not going to like it as much. And I definitely think that is by far the biggest factor.
yeah,
And there are a few things that kind of make me love them. Like if there's I do love it when they have an early kiss. like that.
Mm.
It's pretty rare, but that
Like, you don't like it to take too long to kind of for them to get liking each
yeah,
other. Yeah, yeah.
because I it's just it makes everything more tense. It makes things more exciting. You have,
Higher
yeah,
stakes for
it's just
sure.
better, and they don't do it very often. And I know they like to kind of build up that intent, that enthusiasm for like the first kiss, but I love it when they give us one just a little bit earlier. I think it really helps, and
I
uh,
can't quite recall when it happens in this one. I can't quite remember if it's
okay.
middle or I know
Uh,
my character is very set on a proposal. So she's been dating
oh,
Pete for I think 4 or 5 years. It says in the story,
oh,
and so she basically asks for Kate's help, like what she should
yeah.
do and how she can get him to propose.
It is
And
fun when the movie has kind of layers to it. It's not just the couple, but there's like secondary couples, secondary characters that are funny or making me laugh or things like that. That I'm not as kind of, I don't notice the secondary characters as much as my co-host Amber does, but it is definitely something that can make it even better
for
movie.
sure.
And there are definitely certain tropes that I would say like 90% of the time I will like, such as I really like the fake fiance, like you're pretending to be engaged, or your boyfriend that you. I mean, it's such a ridiculous plot. It's, I
Like
can't imagine.
you like it when somebody's pretending to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, they're pretending like,
Okay.
oh, I have to bring somebody home for
Okay. Yeah.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and
That's a
yeah,
conflict. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. It's so ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's also always really fun,
It's fun.
and
Yeah.
so that's a favorite. I'm not as big a fan of the save the schoolhouse kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That and it just, because the problem with this save the farm, save the whatever,
Hmm.
is that they have no stakes, because we don't believe for a second that they are actually going to uh close anything, uh, and so that if for that, because sometimes that will work, but usually that means that the chemistry was super good. And
Yeah.
for
I
me,
get what you're saying. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
because a lot of people, I feel like, try to do You've Got Mail, but what they forget about You've Got Mail is that in You've Got Mail, the store closes, and she has to learn and grow as a person, and she has to
Hmm.
absorb that, and they almost never have that kind of guts in these
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
movies.
Right.
And so I that's the plot line that's probably that's the trope that's probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
But it can be done well if
It can be done with the right chemistry. Yeah. I think
Mhm.
I agree with you on all those fronts. Like the chemistry, a lot of it is, the director, I think, picking actors that he thinks will work well together. But I know there's
Mhm.
always like a number of factors that go with chemistry. But yeah, it's pretty awesome when you feel it. You're like, okay, this is, we got this going.
Yeah.
Um, and then the secondary characters, I agree. Like I always love the Santa Claus figures or the Mrs. Clauses,
Mhm.
or, even I've played the assistants and the best friends. That's kind of my role. And yeah, it just sort of makes the picture a little more complete and gives it that depth that you were talking about, I think.
Yeah. The a really great example last year on Lifetime was one called Christmas Pen Pals. And what was really great about this movie is that they had the main couple, Niall Mater and Sarah Drew, who were great. And
Love Sarah Drew. Oh,
I
okay, I missed
know
that one, but I remember seeing the
you
commercial.
should watch it. It's so
Okay,
good. And
I'll be
the
on.
whole town has this tradition of doing a pen pal at Christmas. And so they match them all up, and they don't know who their pen pal is. Secret pen
Cute.
pals. Yeah. And so you get to see all these little relationships and not just the main relationship, and they're all writing to each other. And
I like that.
it was so cute. And so that's like kind of my dream movie. I think in a lot of ways it had all the
It's like
elements.
you can't beat it. It's got
Yeah.
all the elements.
I mean,
Oh,
I think that they should do a Christmas pen pals
series.
every season. Why not? You just have different people writing letters, and it would be great.
Oh, good. That's smart.
Yeah.
That's a
But
good tip.
I do also love Christmas Carol. I would say about 90% of versions of Christmas Carol I like. There's a few that are just outright terrible, but for
Well,
the
and
most
it's
part, I love the story.
yeah, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the Shakespeare, like that some
Yeah.
storylines are just they're gonna work, and no
Yeah.
matter how many times you kind of remake them or reimagine them, they still have those elements and kind of can go through transcend all the eras and time and still
Yeah.
be a story that we all love. And I think it's the recognition of it too,
Yeah.
the nostalgia of a story
Mhm.
that we're familiar with, and
Well,
Christmas is so
yeah.
much about nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, and I just love the whole idea of there are no lost causes, that
Yeah,
anybody can be redeemed.
yeah.
And so that's why I love it so much. And so that's it's an interesting thing, because to a lot of people, they see these movies as, oh, they're all the same. How can you like one and dislike the other? But they're not.
No. Oh yeah. No.
They're really not. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing. But I'm excited about Marrying Bride. I think it looks really cute, and
I'm very excited to see it as well. I mean, I get to see little kind of bits and pieces because
mm-hmm.
sometimes we've got to go back in the studio and do kind of
ADR.
ADR and things like that. So you always get like a little peek.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little teaser as well. But yeah, I'm definitely very excited for this one.
Yeah. Well, and that makes me more excited to hear that hear about those secondary characters, and there's a secondary relationship and stuff, because that will be really fun. And I feel like Jodie and Andrew will have good chemistry. So
Oh,
I'm
they
excited.
do. Yeah, we had a ton of fun making the movie. Yeah, everybody got along really
Cool.
well. It was really sad when Jodie had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully she can come back and do another one here, or I can do one
Yeah,
with her. Yeah.
that would be cool. All right.
Hmm.
Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions. And
Okay.
so we have the holiday version of the questions here for you. So here we go.
All right.
What is your favorite holiday drink?
Mm. Okay. Hot chocolate.
Hmm.
I know it's kind of classic, but
Yeah.
if I had to pick one, like I think it's hot cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong.
Do you put like whipped cream or marshmallows on
Yeah.
top?
Yeah. Probably I prefer marshmallows, but I wouldn't say no to whipped cream.
Very, very, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, there was one, I think it was Christmas in Evergreen. There are three that made me die laughing. One of them last year had, or two, Christmas Evergreen 2. It made me die laughing because there was like this roaming hot cocoa cart that was like, there was at like the skating rink. It was at the like
I'm pretty sure we might have a hot cocoa stand.
yeah.
Right.
It was really funny. I'm like, it's always there. It's always there.
There it
Ready
is.
to go.
There it is. Yeah, you have a
Uh,
little and spot the cocoa cart.
yeah. So, okay, what is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Okay. Whew. So many to choose from. Okay,
Yeah.
I have to just. Oh, let's go with shortbread cookies.
Oh, yeah. That sounds
Yeah,
yummy.
classic. Just the buttery
Hmm.
icing sugar. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. What is your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Oh, so many again. I think I've always loved. I really like "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree," like the
Hmm.
Brenda Lee version,
Yeah.
um, which is in Home Alone.
Right.
But also, okay, I'm going to pick two for this. "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" by Bing Crosby.
That's my favorite Christmas song. Is "Have Yourself a
Yeah,
Merry Little Christmas."
yeah.
Especially Judy Garland for me, but whoever
Oh,
sings it, I love.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful song. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite Christmas movie that you watch every year?
I have a few. "It's a Wonderful Life" is definitely one of them. I usually
Mhm.
watch that on Christmas Day. And I also, as I just mentioned, really love Home Alone.
Yeah. Home Alone is another formative movie of my life. I saw it
Oh,
when I was 9 years old. I saw it with my grandparents, and it was the first comedy that I ever really remember laughing hard
yeah.
in the theater at.
Oh, it's a great movie. Yeah, I love Home
It's
Alone.
so empowering for kids, that movie.
Hmm. Yeah, it's an empowering movie for children.
It really is. Very cool. Okay. What is your favorite holiday tradition you do every year?
Tradition. I have a lot. I think I would have to say, well, I mean, decorating the tree goes without saying, but I also really like wrapping gifts. My
Mm.
mom and I always would have a big wrapping station, and we would kind of organize all our ribbons and bows, and we made it like very organized. And that was always one of my favorite parts. And I do that with my niece now. We wrap gifts for people, and we take it very seriously. So we have a
Yeah.
little station.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah.
All right. So what's a memorable Christmas gift, speaking of wrapping, that you either gave or received?
Okay, then I
Did you have
gave
a Red Ryder BB gun moment as a child or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I have a few, but I remember being 5 and I got this beautiful white stuffed dog. And it wasn't wrapped, and it was this big, like large, almost like,
Mm-hmm.
child-sized dog under the tree. So I remember running down and seeing that.
Oh,
That was like my favorite for many, many years.
that's so
I
cute.
also specifically remember the Barbie minivan being a big
Uh-huh.
deal because it was, the Barbie minivan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's funny, Barbie minivan.
Yeah.
Gotta make
Remember,
her
it was obviously very important to me.
it's the soccer mom of Barbies, I guess. That's funny.
Exactly.
Okay. So what's your favorite? Scrooge or the Grinch?
Scrooge.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Uh what would you like better? Clear lights or colored?
Colored. I tend to like sort of the more vintage retro vibe for Christmas. Like I'm
Yeah.
really into the kind of kitschy 1970s trees because that's kind of the type I grew up with.
Hmm.
Though I do love like a nice classic simple light as well.
Yeah.
But I think
Okay.
I pick
Very good. All right. What's your favorite? A snowball fight or building a snowman?
probably building a snowman. Snowball fights, yeah, definitely fun, but I like the creativity that comes into designing the snowman, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Uh, well, you already basically answered this, but are you a good gift wrapper or not? Sounds like you're an expert.
Excellent gift wrapper.
Okay, good.
Can do all sorts of ribbon formations.
Oh, okay. So last question. What is your ugliest Christmas sweater?
um, Oh, I had a good one back in the day that sort of had like 4 different sections, and in each section it had like one was like a gift, and one was a Christmas tree, and one was a candy cane, and it was just, red and had the pom-poms and all that jazz. But I think the favorite one I've ever worn would have been in A Dream of Christmas,
Mm.
where it was almost like a Santa Claus gnome that was on the sweater. So that would be my favorite I've ever worn.
Oh, that's cool. That's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
have some pretty, and it's funny when you see the same sweater in different movies.
Oh yeah.
Like, look at
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
'Cause
Yeah,
there's one with there's a reindeer one that has been in a number of movies. We kind of
yeah.
joke that there's the Hallmark cinematic universe because you see the same
Oh,
gazebo over
yeah,
and over again. You see the same.
definitely.
Like
Yeah.
when I go to Vancouver, I'm gonna be like, I know every inch of this town. Like, I've seen it
Yeah,
all.
even Winnipeg, Ottawa, lots of places in Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do reuse some of the set pieces. Obviously,
yeah,
there's some new design involved, but it's kind of fun that it's
yeah.
shared. It's all part of the Hallmark world.
Yeah. It makes it kind of fun. So, well, there you go. You passed the test.
Oh, good, good,
You keep
good.
making Christmas movies. So we are very excited for Merry and Bright. It's going to be a lot of fun. And do you have any social media or anything like that that you want to share?
I do, yeah. My Instagram is just my name, Steph, just the first part of my name, Steph, Moroz, and that's my Instagram. You can follow me there. And I'm really excited to see the movie as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was great to talk with you. And let us know if you're listening. Let us know in the comment section or on Twitter if you have any comments or thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks again, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
You too.
Okay, bye. I'd like to thank Stephanie for coming on the podcast. It was so much fun to talk with her. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media, and on iTunes and YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes, please give us your ratings and reviews. If you're listening on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We are really hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so we really appreciate that. And consider becoming a patron of the channel. We have giveaways on a regular basis. We have lots of fun discussion, and it's only starting at $2 to join and become a patron. We sure appreciate that. So that'll be all in the description section. Please follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, and on iTunes and YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And thanks again to Stephanie, and Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you later. Bye. This podcast was brought to you by Hallmarkies for Hallmarkies. For more information about how you can leave your mark on Hallmarkies, visit hallmarkiespodcast.com. Link in the description.